Shabbat Shalom. Call Loyim La Yahal Shem Shai Shem Chakbadash. Double to the elder apostles of the Great Millstone, and also the Zaquanium, the bishops of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. A draft is coming for you young niggas and you little ratchets. Right, all you Jake from the ages of 18 to 25, under law, you're required to register with the Selective Service. And this is a tweet from the Selective Service, and this was tweeted yesterday. And it says, in the event of a draft, our agency will partner with FEMA to provide opportunities to conscientious objectors to ensure our nation keeps moving forward. So in other words, they got alternative service for anybody that object to compulsory service. So that means that they have an alternative program where they will basically put you to work. All right. And you're gonna have to serve the amount of time that a person serving in the armed service would normally serve, which is roughly around 24 months. So you have a lot of these young cats. You got Jake all in the hood shooting each other left and right, being a terror to theyself. You got Eve being a terror to the neighborhood, fighting and shooting, carrying on. All that carnage. Well, Esau's getting ready to use your energy and move it to the other side of the world. He needs that energy from you. I mean, in his eyes, it'll be more productive for him, for his interests. And I agree. Take all them niggas out and send them overseas. So that lets you know that something's getting ready to happen. We don't know if a false flag might take place, and it's gonna cause a situation that's gonna further conflict. All right, between the Western Alliance and Russia and their allies. Something's getting ready to happen, and we know war is on the brink. I think you have from Levrov. He was pretty much speaking at a I don't know if it was a summit or he was somewhere he was speaking, but he made mention to Poland, and I believe this was the other night, if I'm not mistaken. But the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russia, the Russian Federation, Lavrov, he was pretty much saying that Poland was suggesting ahead of the summit that they're getting ready to have, that they suggest that NATO send peacekeepers into Ukraine. And he said that pretty much that's a bad idea, because if they do that, they're gonna basically the Russian forces and NATO armed forces are gonna clash, and it's gonna kick smoke in the air. All right, meaning it'll be potential for war. So if Poland suggests that and NATO follows through with that, and we know that America's gonna definitely back them, because we know that the elites, the globalists, through the Democrats on the left, they really are pushing for a war. All right, so something's definitely gonna happen, and then for the Selective Service to put this tweet out, you already know what time it is. So it's gonna be some young niggas, and you're gonna have some you women too, because you women, you fought hard for equality. So you're gonna have to stand on the front line. And if you don't want to do that, if you want to object, you one of those conscientious objectors where they got alternative program for you. All right, they're gonna put your ass in captivity. Okay, so let me get a scripture, because really, normally if you object to it, under a particular law, I believe it's a act. I believe it's known as the Military Service Act, Selective Service Act. If you opt out of serving, you're required to register. If you don't register, you're facing a felony account, punishable by a fine of up to like a quarter of a million, a quarter of $1 million, and or up to 5 years imprisonment. As a matter of fact, when you look into what happened with Muhammad Ali, which they put that in the movie Ali, they did the biopic of Muhammad Ali years ago with Will Smith. Showed you how in I think it was during the Vietnam War, they was basically trying to enlist him into that war. They tried to get him involved in that war. He had to pretty much register and go out, but he ended up saying hell to the no. So it was pretty much an evasion of military service where he opted out, and that was punishable. So what did they do? They ended up taking his title from him. They suspended his boxing license, and he was sentenced up to 10 years, but he ended up not doing the 10 years. I think some he had to do something else, some type of alternative service, but he did that to avoid incarceration, jail time. So they pretty much disciplined him for it, but he stood up on his square because he was not about to fight in that war. He was like, I don't have any uh, beef with the Vietnamese. That's not my fight, you know. So you will fall under the category of a conscientious objector, because you're opting out for ethical, moral, or religious reasons. All right. So let's get some scriptures real quick. I mean, because at the end of the day, it is an unrighteous decree because we know that going into fighting these wars, you only collateral damage for the globalist elite because you're only fighting for their interests, their agenda. You're not fighting because you're being a hero trying to protect your country. Right? You have no business in these other places because the scriptures tell you that he's in every place where he's not wanted. He's neither keepeth at home. Habakkuk the second chapter. But he wants to make it mandatory or obligatory that you serve in his bullshit to forward his power, his agenda. So you're just a pawn to him. This is Isaiah 10:1. It says, "Woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed." And it is grievousness. That's oppression. You're commanded to fight in my war when I need you, even if the war is illegal. It serves no purpose for you, but only for the interests of them. All right, and everybody's starting to wake up to the propaganda. What Ukraine? That is some criminal shit going on with that regime, and that's why the U.S. is backing it, and want all of a sudden send all this aid money to it, provide them with weapons to further antagonize the Russians, man. And then they talking about taking in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Watch them take them in with open arms. They ain't gonna have no issue when they get brought over here. But meanwhile, them Haitians, they tried to come through and they was getting rounded up, man. They was getting met with horses with officers on horses. So Esau showing you how he feel about you tribes, but yet he still will want you to fight in his war for him. It says to turn aside the needy from judgment is to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless. All right. So he will use you as collateral damage, and he ain't missing nothing if your blood is spilled. And all you proud ass patriotic niggas that love this place, and you voted for Biden, you trust in this dude. Well, hey, here it is. All right, here's your chance to show how patriotic you are because you trust in oppression. All right, because you put your trust in this devil, it's gonna backfire. Was that Isaiah 30? Isaiah 30 and 12, it says, "Wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because you despise this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and stay therein, therefore this iniquity shall be unto you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant." You know, you lean to this devil for a support system, and not realizing that his whole power structure is getting ready to collapse. He's getting ready to lose. So if you depending on him for support, you're gonna lose right along with him. You want to fight in this man's war? You want to go help in their a cause that has nothing to do with you? Dumbass niggas talking about I'm finna go to Ukraine and fight for those. The fuck out of here, man. Them racist ass Nazis over there don't give two shits about you. They would never volunteer to do what you're doing. But Jake got that mental disease, man. They want to trim their way to seek love with everybody else, but they don't show that same honor, when it comes to their own. All right, so let's go to Isaiah 3 because that also is going to leave a lot of you women, because right now you proud and you got all this security protection from men, or you believe Esau got your best interests. You got these simp dudes that come to your rescue and your aid. Well, a lot of them dudes, they finna get shipped out, and you're gonna be left unsecure. That's why it says in Isaiah 32, "Rise up, you women that are at ease. Hear my speech, you careless daughters, man. Many days and years shall you be troubled, and you ain't gonna have that covering. You ain't gonna have that head." Isaiah 3 and 25, it says, "Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground." All right. And you're gonna be like it says in Second Ezra 16, the virgin shall mourn having no bridegroom, because they're not gonna have any help. So it's gonna be a shortage of men. And then you got other men. All right, you got the men that are incarcerated in prison. You got men that are uh, uh, part of the LGBTQP, the alphabet mafia. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be a shortage of men, and that's why by that time when all hell breaks loose and wars are happening and the men getting sent out, it's gonna be a shortage of men. The only men you gonna be left with that are valuable are the men of the Lord, and you're gonna realize that, and you're gonna humble down. You're gonna realize that you're gonna need that security from men of the Lord, and that's where Isaiah 4:1 comes in. Where you women gonna be competing, and you're gonna be interviewed by brothers, man. What's your resume? What do you contribute? How are you gonna be a benefit to me? Okay. So anyway, let's go to Isaiah 13 because those that are joined unto this devil, this is what's gonna happen. Because you ain't gonna come back. You're gonna die over there. Isaiah 13 and 15, it says, "Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword." And you already know the risk of dying, once you are sent off in combat. Now the conscientious objectors, they may not necessarily fall into that armed combative capacity, so they'll be away from armed conflict. But those that do, it's a big chance you gonna die. Right? We dealing with the bear. We talking about the bear here. Russia, the Russians, whose military is ranked number 2, right behind Babylon, America. Okay, you gonna fall by the sword, and you nigger women, you butch dykes, you women who think you men are equal with men that sign up. Yeah, some of you women already having second hand guess. You second guessing it. Like that one chick that made a video twerking and then made a video talking about she ain't ready for it. She really ain't signed up for that. No, you did sign up for that, and now here's your opportunity to show your patriotism. Bring your black girl magic over to Ukraine in the Middle East, cause you tough over here. So bring that energy, send that energy over there when they enlist you, and then you gonna have certain men that's gonna be like, I don't identify as a man no more. I'm a woman now. You can only imagine, with some of these men, to try to circumvent this obligation. You're gonna have certain men that's gonna try to identify as a woman, and the scriptures tell you that. Let's go to was that Jeremiah 51, or it might be 50? That mighty men have forborne to fight. You're gonna have a lot of that happening, man. You'll come to your door and Jay gonna have on makeup. You gonna have some lace fronts on, stilettos and pumps, glitter in their eyelids and shit, just to abstain from being abducted into the service. Try to see if I could find that scripture. It might be in the 50th chapter. Yeah, let me go to I think it's Jeremiah 50. I might have passed it up. So like, let me. Okay, so it is Jeremiah 51. So I did pass it up. Jeremiah 51 and verse 30. And it says, "The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might have failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken." So you're gonna have men that's gonna get weak, and they ain't gonna want that smoke. They ain't gonna want to fight. You know, and become like women, weak. You're gonna see that happen, man. Dudes bitching up, not gonna want to go. Certain men that's gonna be out there, they gonna. I showed you that years ago. You had some Edomites that I think they were stationed in Afghanistan when the war was kicking off in Afghanistan, and they were while shit was popping off, it was time for them to put in that work. The motherfuckers was up under their beds crying and shit, snot bubbles coming out their nose, holding on to their guns. They was, man, they was shook. They wasn't ready for that. So just imagine now with you got effeminate men, you got women serving in the forces, you got trans, you got all type of just madness, man. You wonder why these other countries they look at you with disdain, and they look at you as an embarrassment, like a joke. They don't do that shit. They don't have women serving their services. And if you are a Mo, you know, they're gonna make an example out of you. They're gonna lock your ass up. They're gonna torment you, torture you, mock you. You will have no respect in those other countries. That's a Western thing. So hey, the second world's past and the third world coming quickly, man. All right. You got all these ICBM test fires happening, like North Korea just did that recently, and then South Korea had to shoot some missiles to respond to it. So things is finna escalate, man. We're in a time of wars and rumors of wars, but we know that the end is not yet. We in the midst of uh, oncoming famine. You know, food shortages happening, inflation, which is finna turn into hyperinflation. It's all carrying out, man, like the scripture said. Okay, the Lord said the word that He speaks. Let's go to it. Isaiah 55:11, it says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. So the Lord is fulfilling His word, man. Things are escalating pretty quickly. And we seeing it happen, man. Pestilences are signs in the heavens, man. So we there, man. And you Jake's about to feel it. You about to feel it, man. You know, you recently just had a chairman, the chairman of agriculture. He pretty much said a famine is coming, man. So it's hey, it's all being laid out, man. So that's why we got to constantly, you know, watch. We got to constantly pray, be preoccupied in prophecy, do the due diligence, give diligence to make the calling of your election sure. Step out on faith and have trust, because we in the beginning of famines, the beginning of wars. Let's get that in the apocrypha. Second Ezra 16 and verse 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? And they're beginning to increase. We don't know what it's going to be by the end of the year, but salvation can come that sooner. Everything's going digital. They taking away ATMs in Australia. You got entire gas stations that's just totally digital. So it's happening, man. So hey, let's just keep our eyes single. Let's continue to watch. Let's continue to push, man. All right, and that's for you niggas in the hood, killing each other left and right and selling drugs, and you women tearing each other's weave out your head, fighting and shooting each other up and doing what you do and twerking all over the place. Hey, y'all better be ready. It's finna go down, man. So anyway, with that, I'm gonna give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, double honors to the elder apostles and Zaquanian bishops of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.